to invoke the spirit of freedom, for which we are noted for. I invoke that spirit twice. The spirit of Baba is a miracle.
Based on this statement the president made about invoking the spirit during the election, fear don dey catch us so now they invoke spirit for us, okay. And the statement he made about Naira redesign, that is always complaining about Emefiele, that Emefiele redesigned Naira, which almost threw him off balance or something like that, that made him to invoke the spirit. Please, let's hear the views of Ayo, Rufai and Rueben, what they have to say about this statement he made, and also talk about his visit to Ogun State.
It's sort of like a triumphant stomp. You see, when politicians are finally triumphant, they have that stomp. And that's where he went ahead to talk about the elections, and he talked about the Naira policy. Let us now go back to the Naira policy. The Naira policy was a good policy. CBN had challenges with implementation, like we said every time. It was a good policy because, you see, by deviating from the Naira policy, we have gone back to the problems that were first caused, that made us go to the Naira policy in the first place. Now, money in circulation is over 1 trillion, 2 trillion now. And experts are saying that's also going to drive up inflation. So I think the logistical challenge CBN didn't get right was like the interface with banks, banking apps, banking operations, digitization and things like that, which the banks have not still perfected, despite the humongous profits they make. Also, we will not forget the role the politicians played as regards hoarding of cash, because we know that the average Nigerian that doesn't have over 500,000 naira in his bank account, I'm sure that is poorer today, will not be those that will mop up the over 300 or 400 billion the CBN claimed they printed. Because it was politics, they still mopped it up. We'll not also forget the fact that our system became so politicized that we had to go to the Supreme Court to decide the monetary policy issue. Let's not also forget that. And the politicians claim hardship. I wonder if people are not suffering now because of the ill-planned subsidy removal. And please, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't support subsidy removal, because you see, to make a nuanced argument in Nigeria is always a big deal, because people like to pick and choose. And I don't care for that. I state the facts. Subsidy removal is a good policy, but implemented poorly. And the president himself has come out to say that in France, that he didn't take the advice of his aides. And it has to be said. You need to set up palliatives in place before you remove subsidy, pull out subsidy. Because it's going to affect the people, and people are suffering today. It's as pure and simple. So we all remember the politicization of every face out there. But you see, the thing about history and single story narrative is the fact that it's always the victor that tells it sweetly. If the outcome had been different, would this story of this be able to be told this way? But he's just consolidating his base. Consolidating his base among the Yoruba people, because any politician, despite the fact that he's a national figure, has to consolidate his base among the people. But it was a worthwhile visit, and it's also in the festive celebration of this season. I think the Ojude festival too comes up around this time. Probably, I think it's today, if my memory serves me right. Yes, Ojude is today, which is another big festival after Ilea festival, like we call it out there in Ijebu. And congratulations to all Ijebu people on the Ojude festival. And congratulations to Muslims in general, for the celebration of this festival. And congratulations, to Nigerians. But, Ayo, the pain is real. People couldn't celebrate Salah appropriately because there's so much pain occasioned by this removal in the land. And palliatives must be done to the people to help them pushing the pain. People are suffering, Ayo. People are suffering.
Hope that, yes, while it is true that charity begins at home, that the president will also visit other parts of the country. He's a vice president, as I pointed out yesterday. Immediately after the Eid prayers in Abuja, went straight to Maiduguri, and there he paid tribute to the Shehu of Borno. So what you see is that the Tinubu administration at various levels is trying to seize the moment. He's trying to consolidate. He's trying to legitimize by having the right kind of optics in terms of connecting with the community. What did President Tinubu say in Ijebu-Ode and Abeokuta? He preached the message of faith, he preached the message of unity, and he's been very consistent in that regard. And both in Ijebu-Ode and in Abeokuta, he said, hope is here. This hope is renewed. And he expressed his resolve, his determination, to serve Nigerians and make a difference. And in that regard, it was in that context that he said, the last time he visited the Awujale, that he pointed out that he was going to invoke two spirits, and he invoked those two spirits twice. When I talk about spiritism in Nigerian presidentialism, President Tinubu just, he underlined the point I had made before, that this thing is not just about politics and votes, it's also about the spiritual dimension. And he said he invoked the spirit of Emilokon, of freedom, spirit of freedom and determination. And the spirit of determination was to say, even if they frustrate us, they take all the cash away, they introduce a new regime for the national currency, that it wouldn't matter, that we will still win. Which was the major refrain then, apart from Emilokon. The other refrain was, Diete Dibo, Ati Wale. So, which was what President Tinubu was trying to underscore. The only part of it that I think I'm a bit uncomfortable about is this persistent, commentary on how the CBN failed under Emefiele. He said it in Paris. We said, no, if Emefiele, former CBN governor, suspended CBN governor, is already being investigated, allow the authorities to do their work. The president should not be seen to be harping on it all the time. Otherwise, he will be giving fuel to the people who insist that there is some kind of, vendetta, some kind of vengeance involved in all of this. Let other people say it, not the president of Nigeria, commenting on an issue that is being investigated and the end of which we do not know. That's the only part of it that I'm uncomfortable about.
But wait, why is the president always complaining about this Naira redesign? Is he trying to tell us something that maybe that's why Emefiele is in the net? He's not the only presidential candidate that the thing affected also. We have the other two presidential candidates, and they are not. Why is he always complaining? Or did Naira redesign? Is it made it difficult for you to? I don't understand. The complaint is he went to London and he complained that that the financial system was rotting under Emefiele. That this one, he's always complaining about that Naira redesign. But you did not see Emefiele, Oga. You still went to London. You were shaking the Oga. You people were laughing. And it's Emefiele that you are now after. Something is wrong, go.
But he tells us to remain faithful, and he says we should not be in a hurry. Well, Nigerians are in a hurry. We're in a hurry about our circumstances. We need to see change. We need to see difference. We need to see progress. It is good enough that he says he's committed, which is fine.
Well, truth be told, as has been said already, that the president, in usual style, would want to consolidate his base. And his first, shall we say, tour in terms of state post, his swearing in was first his home state, the city of Lagos, Center of Excellence, where he spent his Salah celebrations. The day afterwards, which we showed live here on Arise TV, he took the opportunity to then go to neighboring state, Ogun State, to visit some of the paramount rulers in the state. Now, it's instructive to mention that, yes, it is important to go back and thank the people who supported you and also reinforce your commitment to them and also just reestablish that connection and that support from that base because he's going to need it in the next 4 years. However, as has already been said, but I want to emphasize that point because that was what I was going to center on, was that what we want to see, the model of the man who sits as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is that he wouldn't only say that he's a son to the Awujale of Ijebu land, but that he is a son of the soil of Nigeria, and he belongs to all of Nigeria. It is commendable, and it's still early days to understand or to make judgments as to whether he would choose to replicate this visit across the federation, across the 36 states, but at least principal rulers in major parts of Nigeria. It's too early to call. But in the event that perhaps it's not part of his itinerary yet, the suggestion would be that it would speak volumes if the president, beyond going to the states where he received support or where the state where he identifies with or the region, he goes there to visit. One of the criticisms of the previous administration was a segregation in terms of the former president arguably wasn't speaking or at least favoring all the parts of Nigeria equally, in equal measures. There were issues around nepotism. And yes, we might all say, Emilokon, it is our turn, but that is not how we're going to move a nation forward. It would not be that, okay, it is the Yoruba people's turn, so we are the ones who are going to be running things. In the next few days, we're hopeful that the president would release his ministerial list. By law, he's going to have to favor all the 36 states. But beyond that, in his critical appointments, let us see a president that's for all of Nigeria. So perhaps it might be a good idea to also visit the Obi of Onitsha, to visit the Olu of Warri, to visit the Sultan of Sokoto, and spread it across and give that hope in his message of tolerance, inclusion, that as the figure, he is promoting that and pushing that.